Congressman Raúl Grijalva. Congressman, good to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time. You have spoken with a number of people who have been connected to these children that are ending up in America. What is happening in other countries that is bringing these kids to this country, and what should we do about it, Congressman?
Any parent, any grandparent should understand that when a parent feels, and our community feels, that it is more of a physical risk for children to remain in those communities, in those countries, than it is to take a dangerous trip to try to come to the United States, to expose yourself to human smugglers and organized crime, when they see that less of a risk than trying to survive in their own country, gravity of what we're seeing. And in these countries, in El Salvador, it is the gangs and organized crime. In Guatemala, it is organized crime. In Honduras, it is a government that is yet to shake off and understand what civil law and the rule of law is. So you have all these factors coming in, and you have a region that historically has been an area in which civil war, political unrest has been part of the history. And when the Bush administration carved out that area for a special custodial protection, they did so understanding history and understanding the current situation. What we need to do is invest in those nations, help build them up. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what happens here is that we dealt with this legislatively, that if these kids end up in the United States, that we would provide custodial protection and they would be placed into families around the country. Do you agree with that law? Should we change that law?
No, we shouldn't. I mean, that law was there for the purpose. The circumstances that created that law are worse now than they were then. And when you have a Democrat and a Republican that happen to be from Texas, all of a sudden feeling that intensity that's going on that border, as we have felt it here in Arizona, suddenly say we need to treat these kids as we treat other kids, which is to deport other kids, then that's going to be a huge political battle for humanitarians, for children's advocates, for religious groups, and for the rule of law. The effort to eliminate that protection for those children, I can guarantee you, will be part of the debate this coming week or the week after. I'm opposed to it. I think it's simplistic. I think they're just covering themselves from what we saw in California. And radio and the biased Fox network continue to feed disease, violence, open borders. It's Obama's fault to the public. Build up that fear, build up that hatred, and you saw the tip of the iceberg in California. And if we allow carve-outs, if we allow it to continue to fall backwards on this issue and not do anything, then what we saw in California is going to be replicated along the border.
Well, let me ask you about that, Congressman. How concerned are you about what unfolded in California yesterday?
You know, I've been saying for a long time that one of the biggest reasons to solve the immigration and fix this broken system is because of the social fabric of our great country. The social divisiveness, the underlying issue that permeates of race continues to dominate the discussion. And the more time the Republican majority and the Republicans in Congress continue to use this issue as a political wedge or cannon fodder for their base, the more that social divisiveness, that rip on the social fabric, becomes more of a reality. That's what worries me the most. This country's about integrating all of us in. I'm first generation. I love this country. And I think opportunity like that shouldn't be closed automatically.
Well, Congressman, I would label those folks that were out there yesterday as a mob mentality. I mean, they turned those buses around. They took the law into their own hands. Now, is there a double standard, what we're seeing here? Did these protesters break the law, and should they be prosecuted in your eyes? What should unfold here?
I use the example of the double standard right now when it comes to the political ideology. Take, for instance, the welfare queen Bundy doesn't pay grazing fees, and nothing happens. The people that come to support him aim their rifles at U.S. Marshals. No arrest. And potentially, maybe that's the best way to do it. Some young people, dreamers, throw themselves in front of buses that were taking people to deportation, they're arrested. So if it's the rule of law and the equal application of that rule, then I think that it's got to be applied equally. And from what I can tell, there's a double standard as to where it's applied and to whom it's applied.
Okay, a lot of facets to this story. Congressman Raúl Grijalva, Arizona, great to have you with us tonight on the